We're live.
Yeah.
Are we live?
Yeah,
All right.
We've been live.
We've been live for a minute.
A lot of jaunter.
Good morning.
So happy Memorial Day, guys. I just want to take a moment to say thank you to our troops. I can't say I personally believe in war, but I appreciate all the people that have made sacrifices so that we all have the freedoms we do.
Thank you.
So I just want to say that.
Yeah.
And then welcome, Stacey.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yay.
So guys, we gotta say that Stacey's a trooper because
Stacey is a trooper.
we had to
Reschedule
because we jumped on a bus and now Stacey is just here with us.
It's learning to go with the flow.
And it worked out kind of perfectly, I feel like.
It did
Yeah.
work out, yeah. And that's
It worked
sort of
out
that's
nice.
sort of my thing now. Like surrender, trust. Like everything works out. As like if we stop trying to control how things are supposed to be, like just go with the flow.
Take that resistance down.
Because sometimes we have this whole like wiring in our brain of like how it's supposed to look. Well, maybe there's something even better. We can just let go and get out of our own way.
Can't wait to dive into
Oh my god,
this.
this is so good. This is so good.
gonna be
We
so
should
good.
start right there because
Yeah,
there's so much.
I'm so excited.
Alright, so first of all, welcome to Wild Hearts Podcast, episode number 26 with Stacey Sargent. It's May 20-something, 8th, 6th, 7th, and here we go.
May 7th?
27th.
Oh, I was like, no. That's not quite right, Sean.
Alright, so I'm just going to introduce you, Stacey, to the people so they know who you are, and then we'll get started. Alright guys, so Stacey has been teaching yoga on the seacoast for the last 7 years and just recently opened her own healing practice in Greenland, New Hampshire. Congratulations.
Thank you.
She is passionate about helping people slow down and connect more deeply to themselves through their breath, movement, meditation, and everyone's favorite, stillness. She believes deeply that fierce self-love is the most powerful healing tool we have, and ain't that the truth?
Ain't that the truth?
Good morning.
It really is.
Not the easiest thing to do,
Yeah.
but definitely.
No, it might be one of the hardest things I think we have to do to like really love ourselves. Like going back to the conversation we were having before we got started, like all those layers of everything to love it all.
Ugh.
That's when the resistance goes away, I think. It's that we're talking about the judgment when we love all of it, even the parts that feel. Those are the parts that actually need to be loved the most, right? The ones that don't feel lovable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's like so uncomfortable to hear, right? I think that's so uncomfortable to hear. Like if we all thought about that, like maybe just one thing for now, like one thing that we can kind of just like sometimes really despise about ourselves sometimes, and to imagine like that's the thing that I need to love the most, like that's hard because that's usually the thing we want to change the most.
Yeah, we want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
We can't heal anything by getting rid of it. We have to integrate. I mean, this is what I've come to learn, I think, is that we have to integrate all of it because it's all part of the tapestry. I actually just posted something on social media yesterday that I had shared like a year or two ago. It came up in my memories and I was like, that's such a good reminder that we have to integrate. It's all part of the tapestry of our soul, of who we are, like every piece. And if we're trying to like fix or change, I mean, coming, like, you think about our bodies, like, how much we're trying to fix them through diet and exercise, and, like, how often does it work? Almost never, because it's coming from a place of, I'm not enough. So it seems maybe counterintuitive, but we have to come from that place of, I am enough, I'm whole exactly as I am, and then anything that needs to shift and change happens with so much more ease than that like forcing because it's not coming from a place. It's that foundation of self-love that makes the change actually happen.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want to sit with that for a second.
I know, seriously though, let's all just sit with that for a second. The tapestry of your soul.
I remember, this is so good. This is a great topic to start with because I think I recently heard, and this is from people that have had tough life experiences, like they lose a leg or they're born with some disease, that like they don't have arms or whatever it is. And who was it? I think it was actually, so it was in this book I'm reading. It was this woman that was born without legs or something, or like from the knee down, and she honestly looked at it as like a blessing because then she started to get these prosthetics that were like different heights. And so she would show up as like different heights at different events to feel like a different way.
Right.
And she's like, this
Oh
is
my
a
God.
blessing. Like I get to basically choose like whatever size legs whatever. She like just had such a cool outlook on it. She's like, listen, like I was brought to this earth, and like my body was made exactly how it's supposed to. So why not embrace it? Why reject it? And you know,
That's powerful.
And I can atone to that too. Like I think we talk about like a lot. Like women have these issues. Men do too. Like I know growing up, I did a bodybuilding competition. That was not because I felt like I was enough and beautiful and lovely and whole.
And lovely.
Fucking, that wasn't the case. Like it was literally, and I destroyed my body doing that. Like my body was screaming at me like, "You're breaking me! Ow! Stop!"
Right.
And I was like,
but we don't listen.
I was like, no,
Right,
no,
we push
weakness,
it.
no, can't do that. Keep going. And like, yeah, it looked great, but on the inside, I felt like a 90-year-old man.
Well, and that's the whole like going what we look like this image that we have been, and I still do it. I look at what my body looks like now at 49, and I'm like, like that doesn't fit what like, but what's really healthy? And you look at these people that the image of like that's what a perfect body looks like. Ask them what they really feel like in their body, and that's for me like yoga is like the breathing, the moving, like feeling. Because when I close my eyes and drop in. Do you guys kind of swear?
Yeah, please.
Drop
I was just about to drop an F-bomb and I was like, wait a minute, no, that's perfect.
That's it.
When I drop in this space, I don't give a fuck what my body looks like because I'm feeling and breathing and moving, and it's like it doesn't matter that there's cellulite all over my thighs or I have a pooch from having a baby. But like that's why like I don't post that many pictures, which I probably should start posting more pictures of myself and just being accepting of like what it looks like, because I can more love it when I drop into that feeling space than like the actual physical. But I just had this conversation with somebody yesterday about, as women, we have the programming, skinnier is better. So we're always trying to like get skinnier. And for guys, it's, I need to be bigger, buffer, like skinny's not okay. It's like, it was a woman at the gym because she was like, you know, I'm always trying to lose weight and her husband's always trying to like bulk up because he's like tall and thin. And so yeah, when nobody's immune to the whole body image thing, it's just different for...
It's just different for everyone.
It's just because it's different programming. Men have been programmed with different beliefs and stories and expectations, and women have been programmed with other beliefs and stories.
Well, then women started this whole like woman, like the new skinny is fit or whatever. So then it's like you need to start working your ass off as like a woman too. And then it's like, are we even supposed to work that hard? Like, is that what our bodies are supposed to?
Well, right,
it's
and
just
that's
adding a stressor to your life.
All of these expectations and beliefs we have of what our bodies are supposed to look like and feel like and what's healthy, and even around food, like this is bad for you, don't eat this, like it's fear. And at the end of the day, it's all fear-based. And so when you come down to that foundation of love, self-love, love, from that place, then our bodies are healthy. I look at my daughter she's 14, like, do you guys remember being 14? Like being 14 so
yeah, it's terrible.
She's so confident and happy and comfortable in her skin and wears whatever she wants, like doesn't hide her body. And I'm like, I still don't feel as comfortable in my body as she does at 14. So how is she somehow navigating? Because that's when it happens, those teenage years when like, you know, you become all self-conscious and...
So I have a question for you. Oh, sorry.
No.
Cut you off?
No.
Well, I was going to say, like, can you go back to when you were 14 and like, what was that like?
So honestly, 14 I don't remember as much. I remember for me it started in high school. Like, I don't remember really what I felt like in middle school. I was always quiet and shy and hid. So I think I was still sort of hiding. And then in high school was when like I started dieting and my whole, like, I don't know if I had as much of a body image issue in junior high, the middle school years, as I did like by the time I got to high school. Like I have a very clear memory of my very first diet. I was a sophomore, and that was just the beginning of an insane like relationship with my body of binging, purging, starving myself, like not eating for a week, losing 10 pounds, feeling like, oh my God, I'm so skinny, yay, and you can't survive.
You can't.
So then and then you gain weight back because you've screwed up your metabolism. And
it's a high. It's like a high that you're riding. You're like, dang, I look so good. And like, I don't know, for you, like in high school too, a lot of that kind of revolves around like beauty and like the attention that you receive from like guys or whoever you're trying to attract. And it's like, it becomes such a high and you're like, wow, people like me when I look this way and I get more attention when I look this way. But wow, I have no energy. And like, I almost just fainted at soccer practice. And you're like,
Because all I ate today was a rice cake and like 3
salad,
celery
iceberg
sticks.
lettuce, and sunflower seeds. You know, like it's awful.
And you can't sustain your body that way.
No.
And food is supposed to be enjoyable. Like, food should be nourishing on like the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual level.
Yeah.
Like this whole like rigidness. Because now I think we've gone to the other extreme. We were so like unhealthy, like, you know, fast food and all the junk food and whatever. But now it's like the other extreme, like be gluten-free, vegan, this, that, don't eat sugar. Sugar's gonna
Take
give you
everything
cancer.
away.
Like if sugar really caused cancer, wouldn't we all, like, I mean, I don't know anybody who's never eaten sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wouldn't we all be dead?
Yeah.
Like, so this finding a healthier relationship with, and like food is meant to like be enjoyed. It tastes good.
Oh, why is it so hard though?
Because I think we're so programmed. We just have so many stories and programs in our head that I've had to do with my daughter, like realizing letting her have her own relationship with food. And I still sometimes, like, I worry that she eats too much sugar or she doesn't eat, but to really just let go and let her tune in and listen to her own body. 'Cause these things, as much as they can be uncomfortable,
They tell us what's up.
and like
Yeah.
they're amazing. Like they have their own intelligence. Like they know what to do to heal. If we could just get the fuck out of the way with our stupid stories and beliefs and expectations that like I'm only going to be loved as a woman. Like I'm only going to be loved and attractive and successful if I'm a size 2, or like as a guy, I'm only going to be loved and successful if I'm like 6 feet tall and buff with like the 6-pack abs. Like, and if you get joy from doing that, if like if you had done that bodybuilding thing from a place of joy, like I really want to do this because this seems fun.
Yeah.
Then
Have at it,
absolutely,
yeah.
but your body would have responded completely differently. It's the motivation, intention, like why are we doing it? Am I going to the gym 6 days a week because I hate my body the way it is? It's not going to feel good. Or it's like I actually enjoy lifting weights. Like I enjoy going to like whatever it is that you feels good for you, the way you move your body, then your body responds. Because when we get a cut, it heals because we don't worry about it. Like we know that the body knows what to do to heal a cut. So if a body knows what to do to heal a cut, it knows what to do to heal everything. It's just there's certain things that bring up more fear and other, did we flick off? There's other things that bring up the fear. Like if we got a cancer diagnosis, that's gonna bring a lot more fear than if we have a cut on our body.
Absolutely.
But if our body knows what to do to heal the cut, it knows what to do if we get still and really listen. And that's where the challenge comes in, to really listen and trust what we hear when we drop into that space. What do I hear? Not that somebody else tells me I should be vegan, I should not be eating gluten, I should like let go of all of the external shoulds, no more shoulds. And like what really feels right? What do I need or want? What does my body, what does my soul want and desire in this moment? And sometimes it really is a cookie. You know, so it's really learning to get still. That's why that's my passion, is helping people drop into that space of, because if we're constantly looking outside ourselves, we're never gonna be satisfied. Like it's never. It's like to get still with this and love all of it, be at peace with all of it, the highs, the lows, like, you know, I don't know, maybe there's someday that you clear out all the garbage and you really do wake up blissfully happy every day, but I haven't reached that point yet.
And now it's
I
just the
still
roller
experience
coaster.
a lot of contrast with the roller coaster of emotions, but
I mean, that's.
yeah.
So much goodness in there.
I just feel like all I can keep thinking is like, I just need to go find a bunch of natives in the Peruvian jungle, and that's my solution to life.
Oh, okay.
Because I feel like it's a feeling, I haven't experienced it, so I don't know. But I think of those tribes that aren't exposed to all this conditioning and all this
Yeah.
TV imaging, and like, dude, it's just like a bunch of kids like playing in a river,
Yeah, it's a
enjoying
lot
life, enjoying
simpler.
nature. Like simple seems to be better. And like I think as we go through the complexities of peeling back layers, there's this, from myself, wanting to move towards simple
Yeah.
Yet life continues to move towards more complex and intricate. Like we have AI coming out. And part of me, having to learn technology here is like, let's embrace that, but there's also just this move back to like simpler, because when it's simple, like I think about it this way. If I was in a tribe, right, let's just go ahead, took a bunch of people out in the woods, I feel like pretty simply, my job is to go get food,
Right.
build things, and care for my family. And then probably honor spirit in whatever way I see fit and do rituals around that. Seems like really.
Well, that's why, like, on the spiritual path, like, people used to, like, monks used to go, like, because they would remove themselves from, they'd go off into a monastery or off to the caves or off to the woods, or, like, away from all of but there was a time where I was like, I just want to go sit on a mountaintop and meditate for the rest of the time I'm in this body, like, screw all this craziness and chaos. But, like, that's not what I came here for.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't incarnate into these bodies to go sit on a mountaintop and, like, not to say that we don't need periods of respite away from the craziness, but, like, we're constantly expanding and growing, and it's how do we learn to be in this with the technology and everything and the expansion that's happening, and remember who we are and be fully ourselves and experience the whole experience of the emotions of being human.
Becomes a choice, right? Like, how do you want to kind of take that mindset and integrate it into the world that we are part of now and the society that we are part of now? And it becomes a choice of how you are going to spend your time integrating both of those parts of you. And I think you have to, like, if you want to survive the roller coaster without the numbing, and by taking down the resistance, which we kind of talked about earlier.
Yeah.
We had a podcast before the podcast this morning.
We did have a podcast before the podcast this morning.
It's a pretty good one.
It was a good one.
So I do want the people to get some of your story. I feel like we could just keep going.
Yeah, I know, we could do this forever.
So speaking of experience, would you like to, wherever you feel necessary to start and kind of explain your story and all the ups and downs that go with it and how you kind of got to where you are?
Yeah, so I mean, like I shared with you guys, like, I struggled with depression and low self-esteem and body image issues and everything for a good part of my life. Like, even when I was little, like, a lot of people remember their childhood was really happy. Like, I don't remember that. I don't feel like I was happy when I was a child. So I sort of just stuffed everything inside and thought there was something deeply wrong with me. And so I went through close to, like, 40 years of my life hating myself, feeling not enough, doing the whole comparison thing, and just sort of keeping it all to myself. And then I guess it was my daughter was not quite 2, she's 14, so about 12 years ago, I finally found the courage to share with a friend. I was like, I hate myself. And just finally speaking it out loud, the universe just sort of, like, started to bring in all these different, and it was this, I went to church for a little while, I started meditating. Then I found yoga, and yoga was a huge piece, because talking about the whole, like, being comfortable in this body, like, meditating, you sort of, like, you disassociate from your body. You're, like, connecting to, like, who you are beyond your body. Yoga helps you really be in your body, because you're breathing and you're moving and you're feeling the energy. So yoga was sort of like a really important piece of bringing all of the pieces together of, like, my healing journey that I had done. And that was, I guess, about 8 years ago that I started practicing yoga. So for those first 6 years or so, I was, finding every tool I could in the book to sort of heal that, like, deep self-loathing that I had. And I don't know if I can say that every day I love myself. I guess maybe I do. It's like, it's realizing that just because I love myself doesn't mean that I'm happy every day. Yeah. That it doesn't mean that I don't still have those days where I'm like, I'm on social media and I'm like, oh, there I go again, comparing, thinking, like, if only my body looked like that, or if only I did that bit, like, oh, I don't make that much money, so I'm not successful enough. So, like, there's still that inner chatter of I'm not enough, but now I know how to, like, okay, get off Facebook, get off Instagram, go sit, like, do something to make me feel good. So now I have the tools to be able to come back to that place of center of, like, And it's like, and it's maybe cheesy, but it's like closing my eyes and just putting my hands in my heart and just like feeling into that space and being like, and my daily mantra is, it's sort of long, but I'm like, I deeply, and I do it with my eyes closed and I feel into, I'm like, I deeply and completely love and accept all of myself exactly as I am in this now moment. Like right here, right now, like no matter whether my stomach hurts, no matter whether I've had a, like whatever, like, because love, I mean, it sounds so like cliche, but really love heals. It's like, and that's what I'm learning more and more, like all of these external things, like we try to do this diet or this exercise or take this medicine or do this, but like if we're not loving ourselves, it doesn't really work. Did you guys see the movie Frozen? You guys don't have kids. So you
Oh, yeah.
Oh, did you see? Yeah.
Actually, what do you mean? It's all movie.
It's shifting, being uncomfortable. Do what?
I never
She's
know
hor-
movies.
like I've
Oh, he knows movies.
millions
and
of movie references. She's like,
Well, Frozen isn't one that you would have necessarily seen if you don't have kids, but having a daughter, it's one of the Disney. But when I saw that movie, my daughter laughed at me because, like, at the end, like, I sobbed. But there's this scene at the end where Anna's frozen, and Elsa's like, you know, she's frozen the whole kingdom, and she's afraid of her power, and she's got magic, and she wears gloves all the time, and she has this moment of realization, like, love. And, like, I literally, like, felt it, like, in every cell of my body move through, and, like, love heals. Like, she says love thaws, but love heals. Like, love is that powerful, and like that's why I got it tattooed on my arm, because I feel like that's my work, like, that's my message for the rest of this time in this body, to love myself and to hopefully help other people find that relationship with themselves of like deep self-love, because being human is crazy and we are going to have the ups and downs, but it actually can be really fun and joyful too, but we just sort of have to peel through all of the bullshit lies that we've been fed, that you have to look a certain way or have a certain car or a certain house. Or I think we talked about this the day that I met with you guys, that like from the outside my life looked pretty good. I was married, I had this, my daughter was a beautiful little, like when she was little, she was, of course I'm biased because she's my daughter, but I mean, she was this beautiful little girl. We had this beautiful Great Dane. I was driving a Volvo. We were in the process of buying this big beautiful house on the seacoast by the bay in Greenland. We were fucking miserable. And I realized, it's like, I can't keep going down this path. I'm like, and if we buy this house, and I'm like, even one more step in, like, so it was scary, but it's like to step away and be like, but it took me years. I still was doing the comparison because everyone else was like, well, I'm still just a loser because I don't make a lot. But I was done playing the games of like, the external. I'm like, there has to be more. Like, this can't be, because I did everything right. I got good grades. I went to college. I like got a job, and I was slowly more and more dying on the inside. It's like, why are we really here? Like, what's really the purpose of being incarnated in these bodies? And so I sort of stepped off the hamster wheel, as my friend calls it. She's like, you got off the hamster wheel. But it didn't show. And there's still some times that I'm like, I'm not sure I'm where I'm supposed to be because I'm still a single mom. Like, I still don't make a shit ton of money. Like, there's still these things that I'm like, when am I going to ever get there? But I'm realizing, like, there's no ever. It's just a constant journey of, like, loving myself more deeply, allowing myself to be more in alignment with the truth of who I am and letting go of the resistance and trusting that everything, when I get out of the way, because we are supported, we're so supported and loved by the universe. And that's the thing, that's when you get into the stillness. When you drop in, you have a glimpse of like how loved and supported we really are. Like, but we just have to sort of let go of our old beliefs and stories so that we can step more into, and let go of the comparison, because we are not all here. Like, I didn't incarnate as you, I didn't incarnate as you. Like, we're all here to share our own gifts and our own soul. Like, how does our soul want to express in this lifetime? And my daughter says to me, she's like, just be happy. And I was like, yeah, it's like sort of true. And it's easier for us when we're little, but we take on all these, like pretty early on, for some of us especially, we take on all these stories and beliefs. And so if we can, as we're kids, realize, like, remember who we are and move through this physical experience, remember. And I think that's what spiritual awakening to me is about. It's about remembering who we are. like remembering the truth of the radiant essence of who we really are, which is what I tap into when I meditate and do yoga. And that's where, like, I love being in the stillness. I mean, most people are really uncomfortable. I'm finding even when I do meditations, people are like that. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll do a guided meditation for you, because when we sit and we're just quiet, it's like, because you have to, because the mind does not, we have this false belief that meditation is like the mind quiets. No, you become the observer of your thoughts, right? Like but it's like over time you sort of do drop below all of this like craziness that's up here into this space where like you get that glimpse of like, this is who I am. Like, this is who I am. And then when we come from that place in the world, then it does become a little bit more fun and joyful.
Well, that's an interesting place too, because so I would disagree in saying that the mind's never quiet. The mind does get quiet, but it's only for small glimpses. And then as soon as your mind realizes it, it starts like churning again. You're like,
yeah.
Well, and also we create through our thoughts. It's what thoughts are we giving our attention to? So you get through all of the churning, you get into that quiet space. Thoughts will then come in, but they're different quality thoughts. So it's learning to discern. Is that a thought from my higher self, from my inner being? And I'm realizing it actually is so simple. Does it feel good?
Yeah.
Then it's from your inner being.
So
does it not feel good? Not your inner being. You can push that one away. Like, it really is that simple. How do I feel when I think this thought? I feel pretty shitty when, like, because of course you're gonna feel shitty. Like, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I hate myself, I don't make enough. That doesn't make, so that's not my inner being. Our inner beings are literally, truly only ever sending us love. Like, only seeing us as the essence of, in that pure essence of who we really are. But yeah, so it never completely quiets, but you can get to a place where you have these moments of stillness and you become the observer of your thoughts. I've been meditating for long enough that I forget what it was like when I was, and I can definitely still get in my head, but what it was like when I was like completely in my head, that like, I now know, I mean, all it really takes, that's why I close my eyes a lot. Because I close my eyes and I'm like, okay, there I am. Like, to feel into that space. But we become the observer of our thoughts and we realize our thoughts aren't who we are. And I think that's the first shift. We realize these thoughts aren't who I am. Then we can, with more intention, choose the thoughts that we're feeding. But I don't know, my negative thoughts still haven't completely gone away. Like, I still go into the comparison. Right, like I don't know if we ever...
They're there for balance, right? I feel like.
Yeah, and there's purpose in the contrast, I think. Like, and we wouldn't have like this emotion, like we wouldn't know what to feel good. Rhea just posted something about, without the contrast, like how do you know? Like if we felt good all the time, how would you know? Like it wouldn't be, so it's sort of like there is purpose in those, but as long as we're not continuing to feed those stories and think that that's the truth of who we are, those negative thoughts and things.
So what about like when you go back to this time in your life when you just like voice like I hate myself, like going back to that with like the mindset that you have now of like, oh, that obviously wasn't my higher self.
That was definitely not.
Like, and kind of that contrast that like obviously created such a like what's the word I'm looking for? Momentum for like I was like, what is this? Momentum for like your entire journey, kind of like from the way you tell the story, like that kind of catapulted you forward.
And so the things, there is sort of a purpose. There can be like, I mean, I can look at like I wasted the first 40 years, almost 40 years of my life hating myself, but it was this catalyst and there was this sort of turning point. And having my daughter was a deeper catalyst for like, wait, I don't want her to hate herself the way I've hated myself. And now, I mean, I look back at that person I was, and now I actually can have love and compassion for that person. But yeah, without all of that, it wouldn't have probably pushed me into going deeper, having the courage to walk away from my marriage and the house and the dog, all of these like external trappings that, I said it to a friend, this was a few years ago, I'm like, we all have a happy place, like underneath and she's like, well, I don't know if I believe you. I'm like, but we do. But it's like happiness is 100% an inside job. Like nothing outside of you will ever make you happy if you're not happy in here. Get happy in here. And then if there's external, like the house, the car, the husband, the kid, like those can add to your experience. But if you're looking to anything outside of you to make you happy, it never works.
Do you think there can be kind of things in your life that trigger that like internal happiness though? And I'm thinking kind of personally for you, maybe like your daughter.
Yes, so there's definitely things outside of us that can bring us more joy than we can use to. But what I have found, because I mean, it's an ebb and flow with my daughter, even now that she's 14, especially. I just said it to her on Saturday. I was like, I don't know how to navigate being your parent, like the parent of a teenager, because like I can feel that she's mad at me, but she doesn't want to like say it to me. And then I'm like cranky and like I'm trying to like still make her happy, and it's like she used to be my like little like, you know, was dependent on me for everything, and now it's not that she doesn't want to be around me, but she's her own person and has her own life. So even if I'm using that as my basis of joy, like that's not always. So it really has for me gotten to that point of like having to drop into that space and connect to myself and knowing that. And then there are things, I mean, yoga, meditation, my daughter, having connecting with people like you and having these conversations. But, so yeah, there are external things, but if it isn't coming from a place of, because we're not broken, we just think we are, we've told ourselves this. And that's the thing, is we do all these things to heal, when really if we just remembered who we are and that we're not broken and that we're whole, and then like everything lines up with that truth. But we have a lot of programming and a lot of stuff. There's in the Yoga Sutras, when I did my yoga teacher training, I don't know how many, there's like 200 or something. I never studied them all, so I don't know, but there's a lot of sutras. But if you read the first one, it says I won't even try to say the Sanskrit, but the English translation is yoga is a cessation of the fluctuations of the mind. And it says for the keen student, this is the only sutra you need. When you think about that, like it's actually simple. We are the divine embodied. Like we're whole, we're loved, we're perfect but in our humanness and our divine, like all of the emotions of being human are accepted and loved too. But it's not, so it's simple but not easy, because we've been told all these stories and picked up all these false beliefs and everything. So we need all these tools, like whether it's studying the Yoga Sutras or some other spiritual text or going to yoga. But at the end of the day, it's remembering who we are, that we are the divine embodied. And
I love so much what you just said about like you're not broken, and this idea of like healing. Like, do you remember when we were in the parking lot in New Jersey City, and we like went for a walk? We were going a little bit crazy on the bus, and we were just like in another parking lot for the night. So we just went for a walk to that like white bridge, and we were talking about, I think I said something about like we get so caught up in this like mentality that we're constantly needing to like heal ourselves. And it becomes like this like tiresome like idea of like, oh, I'm on a healing journey. Oh, like this is just part of my healing journey. But it's like maybe like changing the mindset around that, or like the wording around that. Right. And like, I don't know what that looks like exactly, but maybe just like not feeling like you need to be like healing yourself at all times
constantly,
can be like
right?
A total like game changer for your mindset.
Well, because it's exhausting to think, because if we're feeling like we need to, and not to say that there aren't things that will need to be healed, we have physical illnesses and different things, but when we're coming at it from that perspective of I'm broken, it doesn't, because think about like, how does it feel when you say that?
Yeah.
That doesn't feel
good. And subconsciously, how does your like body feel?
How does your body respond when you think I'm broken? Like,
well, I think when we're talking about this, the thing that's coming up is it can just become another addiction and another form of control, right? Like
100%.
Because it's like, what is there a goal? Like, and I guess it's the goal enlightenment. There's been like 5 people in the history of existence that have gotten there, you know? So it's like, because again, if you're gonna go with the flow, technically wouldn't that mean you're gonna go with the flow of your own natural healing process?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you said the cut heals on. You're not like,
right,
maybe sometimes if you're a football player, you're trying to make your knee heal faster.
Right.
But
yeah, and obviously,
it's
like if you have a cut, you might put some antibiotic on or something to help. But like, so there are like actions and tools that we take. But like, we just get out of the way and trust the flow that that it's not these things that we have to do to force it to make it happen.
Yeah, because Kadi said that to me once. It's like, be careful with that, because then you're never being, if you're constantly like trying to peel back layer after layer after layer, and which we're always going to be doing. But even in that conversation in Jersey City, I think that's kind of what you were trying to allude to, is like, well, if you're constantly in this mindset of there's something else to fix, I mean, you can chase that your whole life and you're never going to be satisfied with it.
Right.
And it doesn't allow you to like appreciate the layer you're in, because you're trying to get to the next one.
To the next one and the next one.
And I mean, just saying that, I feel like that's coming out of, that's not me speaking, that's just coming out of me. That's even advice for myself right now. What's John Lennon? Beatles? Let it be.
Right.
Like, that's how I feel right now. Like, I just need to just let it be.
Well, because I think when we show up with the mindset, I'm whole, there's nothing that needs to be fixed, like if there's stuff that needs to be healed, it's gonna come up. But like, so it's just, how do we show up most present and authentically? And then if what's coming up that day is depression, is anger, like, then we can be fully present to that experience without looking at it as something that's broken or needs to be fixed. Like, I think I was saying it before we got started going live, that when I feel that stuff, I'm like, I see you and I love you, because that whole like integration, like we're trying to fix these parts. Like, let me heal my depression, let me heal my eating disorder, let me fix this. Like, it's just a part of, if we see it as a part of who we are and just love it, the love actually does heal it. When we see it and love it, instead of looking at, and not to say that we're not then guided to go do something that's maybe considered healing, like maybe we go see an energy healer or we go to the sound healing thing, but it's not from a place of looking outside of ourselves that we're not enough as we are, exactly as we are in this moment, no matter what it is we're feeling or experiencing.
You know what's really interesting? This just came up in my life, and I feel like there's these experiences I've had with, this isn't stereotyping, I just want to like leave this out, but this is just where I've seen it, and it's been with like gay men that are like really just like own that piece of themselves, and like it's that. And then there's also just larger black women. This has just been my experience. This isn't like, again, I just really want to be clear with you, but they just like embrace
deep acceptance of who
and
they are.
super deep acceptance. And they're just like walking all around. It's honestly intoxicating.
Right, to
I'm
own
like,
who you are.
Shit, that's what I want, because that's fucking awesome. Just
Because
to see the freedom. It's freedom.
They've let go of the external of like, I'm supposed to be somebody different.
Yeah,
than
they're just
I am.
like, you see this girl with like,
this is who I am.
You know what I mean? And they just rock it, and you're like,
That's what's sexy too, that confidence.
Well,
to be entirely like, this is who I am, and to express that and be that without like the shame or guilt or fear or.
Yeah. It's such a cool thing to like experience it when it's like, that's the stuff.
Yeah.
Can
And I think too, something like that's coming up for me, kind of not exactly related to that, but came up for me when you were talking, was like also in this like kind of space of like this like mindful movement that we kind of have going on. And like if you place that in kind of like a social media world, this idea of like, oh, like, did you do your morning routine this morning? Or did you write down like everything you're grateful for? Or like, have you done X, Y, and Z? And it's like, it again comes back to this place of like, I'm not enough until I do this in the morning. Or like, I'm not enough until I get through this checklist. And I can't like go on with my day and be the best version of myself until I do this. And it's just like another kind of like,
it's another should.
Yeah.
No more shoulds.
And
just stop shoulding on ourselves.
No
more shoulds.
And it should be a liberating thing, but it's like.
And I think in the beginning, I think when we're so stuck in our stories and those tools are so powerful, and there is consistency, like in an Ashtanga yoga practice, they practice 6 days a week. Like there is a reason in the beginning, because we're so like, you gotta let go of sort of the ego pattern. So like there is power in having that routine and having that
100%
consistency,
agree.
but it's having the discernment to know when you've gotten to a point that you've let go enough of that old shit to be like, now to tune in, like get quiet every morning, be like, what does my soul want today? Like, and maybe it is journaling, maybe it is the movement, maybe it's going and sitting and having a cup of coffee and looking at the sun. Like, but instead of saying this is what I'm supposed to do every day, and because then if we don't do it, then there's that whole story that starts up again of like, I suck, I'm not enough, what's wrong with me, why can't I get my shit together, or whatever it is. But so the tools do serve a purpose, I think, depending on where. But when we get to a point when we realize like, oh, like this is who I am, I'm whole, I'm okay, I'm enough. Like, and does it bring me joy?
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Like-
it's kind of another addiction too. Like I remember one of
Totally.
our first days on the bus too. I was like, because the Insight Timer app for meditation like tells you how many days in a row
Yeah.
you've like meditated, and I was like, oh, I would have been at 36 days today, but because of the flight, I like started me back over at 1, and it's like, why does that matter?
Does the app actually literally start you over?
Yeah.
See, and that's annoying
I'm
too.
like, why?
Like, yes. because
Why
then
does that bother
because,
me?
Well, because it makes you feel like a failure.
Yeah.
And like, but that's a programming of like, because the way it starts you over.
So then it has to be
Like,
like, what is
why-
my even intention around like
Right.
meditating? If that's the
Right.
like mindset it's gonna put me in.
Right. And that's the thing, is getting clear, like, what is our intention? Like, what is that? And to just let go of like, because that's life. Like, if we're not able to like move through this human experience of things. I mean, you guys have been on a bus for 3 weeks. Like, of course that's going to throw off your routine. So if you have this expectation that your life is supposed to look exactly like it did, yeah, it's just going to set you up for
There's
failure.
something that like is coming up for me.
Tell us.
So closing my eyes here, I'm trying to like. So you talked about like this whole idea of body image, right? And you got like the dudes that we do and the dudes and the women that we do see online that are like six packs and like look
The,
amazing.
like, quote unquote perfect body.
Yeah, look amazing. But do they feel great, right? It's like this question of, do you actually feel amazing as well? And the answer might be yes, it might be no.
Right.
But I'm also thinking about, as we're talking about addictions and like these routines of like this whole, as much as there's a mindful movement, I know in my age of awakening and just being a millennial in my 20s, there's also this whole thing of rise and grind. And like being a successful business person is like staying consistent in your routines and doing all these things and blah, 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 and having all the successes. And it's like, okay, but if we want to look at a deeper level, like, are you truly happy with that? Like, or are you just
Right.
chasing the external? And like, yeah, you're consistent, you're having success in finding the external. It's a question I ask constantly. Like, for example, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Everyone, yeah, we always gotta go there. Well, no, because it's like, I look at him as a mentor, but I also ask a lot of questions. Like, are you truly as happy as you perceive? Is this something that, like, I really question the sustainability of his lifestyle, you know, and I question, and again, like, it's not judgment, it's just questions. It's a
Right.
curiosity, because like, I'm like, what is he taking to like, not just to be big, because like he works out and like does all that stuff, but like to keep going, to have all this energy. Like if you're working as much as he does, and like you are truly honoring like the emotional spaces that you go through, like I look at like even myself, and again, this is why I'm asking the question, is like last couple of days, like I've just been like super low energy, like feeling depressed straight up, and I'm like, where in the fuck would you ever find the time to do like what Dwayne Johnson just did in a day? But he's also human, so it's not like he's immune to those things. And I know for a fact
Right.
part of his story is he's had depression.
Right.
And it's like, no, he's got a lot of beautiful things going on. He's got like 3 daughters. He's got, you know, beautiful wife, amazing life, like lots of money, all those good things. But it's like, I truly like, and like, I don't know if there's a paradigm shift that's happening of like this going with the flow and actually asking what feels good. Because like, I'm wondering, are you just doing the things that are expected to you? Or like, I know the gym feels good for him, but like all the other things.
Right.
And maybe they do. Maybe he's just in perfect alignment and he's like flying high on energy. I don't know.
I know, and I think there are some people that maybe are
Curiosity.
in perfect alignment, and it is, but I think that's the exception. Like, I think there's a lot of people that it's still this old, like that they're not really going deep enough to follow the flow of energy. Because if you're really following the flow of energy, you are going to have days where you feel low. And so the challenge is how do we exist in this, what we've created? You know, we have bills to pay and kids to feed and the different things. Like, how do we, and that's for me where the trust comes in, that we are so loved and supported by the universe that like, but it's led, and I still do it because I've been on this journey, I said like 12 years or so, like, and there's people now that are making a shit ton of money selling coaching things that like I've known for a while. Like they say it and I'm like, that's not anything new. But like I didn't go out, like I didn't create this whole, like I'm not a millionaire, I'm not making six figures. I'm still a single mom living in an apartment. Like, so there's all these things, but like if I let go of that, looking at somebody like that, like all the things that are in place, that I hope that there is this paradigm shift happening of to really be able to follow the flow of energy and ride those highs and lows and to just be more and trust. But it takes a lot of courage to really be in the flow of the energy and have those days where you're low and to still love yourself and to be okay with that and to not push through. And that's the thing, is if you're running a lot of these things that we do, how do you, like, so how do you honor those days where your energy is low? And we're also not seeing his like day to day to day to day, and like this thing is, so you have no idea. And that's where like the authenticity, and there are people that do share authentically on social media, like everything, that like it's not all like rainbows and unicorns all the time, but like to be careful that we're not continuing to tell the stories that like life is hard, life sucks, like that, like, but to honor the whole experience so that we don't feel like there's something wrong with us if we have a day where we feel depressed or we feel shitty or like whatever it is, that, you know, to know that we can live our best selves and have these beautiful, amazing lives, but that doesn't mean that it looks like this picture that we've painted on social media. And so
yeah, I'm gonna call you out for a second, because I think too, like, it's important to realize that like you don't know anything about anyone but yourself. Like I think you said, I know that he loves working out or something, but it's like based on like what he shows you on Instagram or social media, yeah, it's easy to believe that, but like you've never personally like sat down and had a conversation with him and he said, really I love working out, I love it so
Get him
much
on the podcast.
But even if like you did, like we don't know anything. We don't really know anything about anyone other than like what we deeply know about ourselves, and even sometimes that's hard to decipher. Like if you just go back to this idea of like sitting with yourself, and it's tough to decipher like if thoughts are coming in because it's actually your higher self, or is it something coming from an external source that's trying to tell you to like validate yourself for somebody else or for society or whatever it is. Like it's impossible really to know what other people really love and like in their lifetime.
That's why I think it's so important that we take time for ourselves to be still with ourselves, because it does take some time to like sort through those different layers of, and I think having authentic, real conversations, and you can pick up on people's energy. Like, so if you sat down with them and had an actual conversation, like a real, and you can tell when somebody's being authentic and when somebody's putting on, like if you're sensitive to energy, like you pick up on like, because energy speaks way louder than words do. So someone can be saying something, but you can pick up on it a little bit in social media and stuff, but it's definitely very different being in somebody's physical presence and having an actual conversation with them and picking up on their.
I don't love Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
No, it's cool.
And if anybody knows him personally,
I hope you're watching.
we'd love to have his wild heart.
Please, get your ass on here.
Get the real scoop on what his
we want to
life
know the
is
real.
like.
But can you maybe walk us through, or everyone through, like some of your like techniques for like really loving yourself? And that might not even be like any like real technique, but maybe just.
Well, that what I shared earlier, like saying, like literally just closing my eyes and like putting my hands in my heart, taking some deep breaths, like so really grounding yourself into the present moment. And for me now, I can do it fairly easily, but because I've been doing this for so long, but sometimes you have to give yourself a little bit of space. Like you can't just necessarily like sit and drop. And like I said, people get really uncomfortable being still. But, you know, like, so just close my eyes and like breathing, like really consciously breathing, like feeling into my body and bringing my awareness through like every cell in my body and knowing that everything is energy and that energy flows where attention goes. So like noticing. And I definitely start to notice the patterns now when my physical body feels off or something. It's like, it's sort of like going back to something like the blessing and the curse. Like the more sensitive and aware you become, the more intensely like you feel everything, and the more sort of vigilant you need to be with what your words you're speaking and what thoughts you're like. And if you, like if I look at something on social media and a thought comes in, if I don't address that thought, like the feeling of the fear, comparison, or not enoughness, it ends up sort of like getting bigger and bigger, and then it's like, you know, manifests as something bigger, whether it's a physical symptom in my body or stuff. So for me, it's like really getting super present and paying attention to where I'm putting my energy. So I don't even really have a routine anymore, because I think I am at that place like, I don't, and it's sort of hard with the physical exercise, because like I feel like for the body to have results, like you do sort of have to have a regular routine. But like some mornings I'm like, I don't feel like doing this today, so I'm like, I can't lift weights one day and then not lift them again for another 10 days. My muscles aren't going to really respond. But then realizing like, why am I lifting the weights? Like, do I really need the buff triceps at this point? Like, so it's like really just getting present with myself on a day-to-day basis and checking in with that. Like, what do I need today? So meditation, like I definitely meditate every day in like some form. Like sometimes it's shorter, sometimes it's longer. Throughout the day, it's like I said, like closing my eyes, just because when you close your eyes, it's sort of that like you shut out the external world. So like you can just sort of like drop into that space. But yeah, so it's sort of just catching myself when I'm like spinning those old stories again, or the comparison, and just, I mean, there was a time where I was like just constant, if anyone was in my head, they think this, I was like just constantly repeating these affirmations and stuff, trying to rewire, because the thing is, there is the physical chemistry of our brains, the way the neural pathways, like we form, like it forms group, like I'm not scientific enough to know how it all works, but if you think a thought over and over and over again, it does form. So then it's not like you become addicted to the thought. So you can't necessarily, and the things we think there's something wrong with us, like why can't I just think positive? Well, because our brains get addicted to this. So it's just being gentle with myself, like on a day-to-day basis of like, and just affirming, as cheesy as it sounds, like just saying like, I love myself, like looking in the mirror, like, and like, and being like, I love myself. Like, and there's a difference between knowing something, I think, and feeling something. And so there was a period where like, I knew these things, but I could tell I wasn't embodying them or actually feeling them. Like I'd say an affirmation, like, okay, I know that's true, but I don't feel that that's true. So it's just sort of like, and it's why we call it a yoga practice, a meditation practice. They're just sort of practices of how do we start to embody more of, and it's just, it comes back to like, I guess maybe to sum it up in one little, like just coming back to remembering who I really am. Like, and I said, like, that's one of my passions, is helping people remember who you really are. Like, we are the divine embodied. Like, there's nothing broken about us, and just coming back to remembering that. So dropping into the stillness, and from that place, the self-love sort of just bubbles up on its own.
I love what you just said about like the affirmations and how you can like write them or say them and just not really like embody them. Because I've recently been feeling that like a lot. I'll like write like an affirmation, say it, and I'm like, I don't really, like I still feel the same that I did. So like I've actually been doing this new thing where I'll like with journaling, I'll write like, how do you feel in this moment? And it might be something like anxious, irritable, like upset, like angry. And then I'm like, it doesn't feel good. And I'm like, how do you want to feel? And then write down the ways that I want to feel. And then the next question is, okay, how are we going to get there? Like, what do you need to do to feel that way? And sometimes it's just like smiling, and then you feel better. But sometimes just like breaking down how it is you're feeling, how you want to feel. And it's not always as difficult as you think to get out of that space.
But it is, I think it's honoring where you are exactly in that moment. Is that my phone?
No, it's mine.
Oh, yours.
I guess it's already been an hour.
Has it gone that long?
Yeah, we've already gone an hour. Yeah, that's
just gonna do that.
well works.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you honor where you are, and that's what EFT, I don't know if you guys are familiar with EFT tapping.
No, but that's coming up a lot lately.
So that starts with, it's sort of just what you described, like you start with like, how do I feel, because you've got to clear it out. Like if you're just, like I listen to Abraham Hicks' Law of Attraction on, and so like, if your gas tank is empty, sticking a smiley face on it is not going to change the fact that the gas tank is empty. Like your car is not going to run. So if you're feeling low and lethargic or depressed or angry, whatever it is, if you just try to be like, I am happy, like bullshit. Like, and your mind's going to call bullshit because your body's calling bullshit because you know that's not how you feel. Yeah. So that's the like, how do I feel in this moment? And then how do I want to feel? And then and then it does become the way sort of becomes clear. But if you're ignoring I think it's being completely authentic with what you're feeling in that moment instead of just like writing out the affirmations because
there's so much power in that.
Doesn't work.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, this has been so great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It has been really fun.
Can you
Sorry,
maybe
I probably
just
rambled all over.
No, I love it. I feel like so much goodness in everything that comes out of your mouth. It's like it's incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That makes because my daughter was like, "Mommy, you talk." Because like I'm so passionate about this one. This thing's like and then I'm like off topic and over here and talking about this, and my daughter's like, she like rolls her eyes. Like if a student asks me a question at the end of a yoga class, and I get on this roll, she's like, "You talk way too much." So I'm glad to know that there's some
the daughters
good,
are just like that.
Right. I'm glad to know that there's some good stuff in the stuff that spews out of my mouth.
Put it this way though, like it sounds so. I think I see myself in you in the fact that like you probably didn't say that much for 40 years of your life when you were hating yourself. So now it's just like all the wisdom's pouring out. So I just
that is true. I was very, very quiet. I hid. I was the girl that sat on the back of the. I'm like, don't look at me. Like, don't like no.
Finding your voice.
So now I am finding my voice. So I'm making up for lost time.
There you go.
That's so amazing.
It's great. And a lot of people appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh, we appreciate it. That's for sure.
Thank you.
Can you just maybe talk about, like, let people know where they can find you and also what you, like, a little bit more about, like, what it is that you offer? Like, if somebody were to, like, want to work with you in any capacity.
Yes. So my space is in Greenland, New Hampshire. It's called Inner Presence Healing. I am on Instagram and Facebook. I do not have my website yet because that's been sort of something that I'm like, feels like overwhelming because it's not like my strength. So that's coming eventually. That's coming eventually. But right now everything's on Facebook. I'm located in Greenland. It's Inner Presence Healing. I do some weekly classes. Right now I do a chakra balancing class on Wednesday nights. And then I do individual healing sessions. And they're really, I have so many tools in my toolbox, like the EFT tapping, the breathing, the affirmations, like. So when I work one-on-one with somebody, we sit and chat for a little while, and I get a feel for what is it, like what's going on, like what is it that they need, and then I do Reiki and more intuitive energy work too. At this point, I've been certified in Reiki and attuned to Reiki, but it's more sort of just tapping into a person's energy field and. Honestly, it's getting a person into a state of receptivity. Like I said, the body knows exactly what to do. So as an energy healer, I'm really helping you to just get into that state of relaxation so that your body can receive the energy because the energy flows from everywhere. Like it's accessible to everybody. So as an energy healer, I'm just sort of helping your body get into that place where the energy can flow. So the energy work is a piece of it. I do some breathing exercises with people. I incorporate the essential oils and some yoga movement. So yeah, there's sort of a whole toolbox of things. But my passion is to help people realize and remember who they are and remember their wholeness and give them the tools. And sort of like, I had a client a week or two ago and I was like, really? Like when it comes down to it, I just want to make you feel loved. Like, and she's like, well, then you're doing like, and I was like she felt like that's really like to hold that space where somebody can feel how loved and supported they really are and to tap into their own and help people tap into their own intuitive wisdom because like I'm not, like, I don't see myself as a coach or even a healer. I'm here to help people heal themselves and remember who they are. I'm not here to tell anybody else what to do, because we all have our own unique journey.
Yeah.
But if I can anyway help people kind of move through some of their stuff or give them some tools that will help them along their path.
Along this process, I've heard like, what I believe to be true healers say, like, I'm actually not doing anything other than holding space for your own, or like tapping into awakening your own inner healer, because that's really all it is.
Yeah, nobody else heals you. You heal yourself, and a healer does just create the environment and space for. So that's why it's like, I connect to the person, and we just sort of talk, and then, it's sort of like
Technology.
we are done.
It's like you are over your time.
So did that answer your question? That's where you can find me.
Yes,
Facebook,
absolutely.
That's great.
Oh my gosh, I hope some people reach out to you, because I don't.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think they'd regret it. That is for sure.
Thank you.
So we're just gonna end with our favorite ending question. What is living with a wild heart mean to you, Stacey?
How can I mean, loving yourself, like, that's my thing. Like, showing up 100% authentically and loving yourself exactly as you are.
Oh, yes.
And knowing that that's enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's enough. We're all enough exactly as we are in this moment. So,
Simple,
doesn't that
but
feel
so
good?
powerful.
Right? And doesn't it feel good?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
really, like, take that in.
These the
Take
way
that
these
in.
podcasts have been working out, like, as much as it's for everyone else, I've just more and more find each week is like exactly what I need as well.
Well, that's how the universe
You know what I mean?
works.
So like
Yeah.
the fact that we didn't have you on a couple weeks ago, like, I needed to hear that, like, being depressed low me is enough.
And see, and this is the exact understanding. Like, the old me would have been, when you guys canceled on me, like, my old story would have been like, see, you suck, you're not enough, they don't want to hear it. Like, and it was like, nope, that's your old story, Stacey. Just trust that. And people say, well, they will in my space, like, marketing, getting people. And I was like, I want to trust that. Like, one week I had a couple. It was just a husband and wife. Like, that was perfect exactly as it was. One week I just had one person show up to my class. She was sick. She needed straight on energy work and stuff. So just trusting that, like, yes, like, the first week in May wasn't the right week, that, like, when you just sort of, like, surrender to the flow of the energy, we hear the messages that we need to hear when we're ready. So yeah.
So thank you.
Oh,
You're
so
welcome.
perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Alright, guys. Happy
Thank you,
Memorial Day.
guys.
Enjoy the sun, the boats, the water, all those fun things.
Have a good day.
Bye.